Welcome to the One True Divine Feminine and Psychic Investigations Tarot. I'm so glad to have you join me today. I just want to say thank you to everybody, my gratitude for all the help that I have received, spiritual upliftment, tarot card advisors, soul tribe, light team is absolutely immense. I'm also very grateful for honest and decent cops, FBI agents, real lawyers, and real judges. You literally have saved my life multiple times over the last few years. And yes, I'm not quite done yet, am I? So my appreciation is huge. And yes, I do know I need to continue to heal. It's imperative, right? But it may take me a lifetime. So it is a process, and I'm in the middle of it, but I'm doing pretty well considering. So I also want to let people know that I have not monetized my channel yet. So do not make any donations to my channel. If it's set up, that's not me. But if we have an Aquarius lawyer, for example, who wants to make a donation to the One True Divine Feminine and Psychic Investigator, you can meet me at the library and I'll take a certified check. So communications right now are still very problematic in my life. Emails are constantly getting hacked. Phone is hijacked. They're reading through messages, blocking things they don't want me to see, erasing messages, that sort of thing. So if there is going to be a get together in December, which I love that idea of, please text me with the information. If you call, I will, if I get the message, I will call back and let you know. If I don't call back, that means I didn't get it. So, yeah, you'll have to be diligent in trying to reach me, but the FBI knows how to find me. So anyhow, my gratitude is huge and immense. And yes, I know I need to continue healing. It's going to be a lifelong process, but that's part of the journey. And I have overcome quite a bit, and I intend to fully overcome everything else. Now, I want to jump ahead a little bit because there's some big energy shifts coming in the universe. And when you see big things coming, it's nice to have a little time to think about it and prepare. And one of those energy shifts is coming in March of this spring. We know it's coming, but we need to keep in mind that running in the background of all of this is the fact that we still have Pluto in Capricorn finishing up its 248-year cycle, which began in 1776. And we're at the tail end of it. And usually at the tail end, things really try to hang on. And it can bring very devilish energy, right? Right now, it's bringing a lot of corruption in our government. But this is actually meant right now for us to reveal all that which is hidden, to reveal the corruption, how things are not working, so that we can fix where we are. And that's why the Emperor's upside down here, because right now we're not operating as we should be. But the goal is if we can reveal everything that needs to be revealed and fix it, we can lay the ground for so much better coming up in the future, because we are going to start a new 248-year cycle. And whatever seeds we plant right now are going to be absolutely pivotal for the future of America. And that is to do with everything to do with government, big business, and big organizations. And what we need to do at this time is to break the chains that are binding us to the greed, to the corruption, to the things that are keeping us stuck as a nation and in this warlike energy. So we have to break these chains, and that's what's being asked of us. Now, if we can handle what's before us wisely, that will help to set us up for the next stage when Pluto moves into Aquarius. And it's going to begin that movement in 2023, but it's going to come and go. But by 2024, it's going to be here to stay for about a 21-year cycle. This means that power is going to go back into the hands of the people if we handle this properly. It's like we're going to be our own flame keepers, right? And that's really a good sign for democracy. It's going to give us a huge opportunity to restore our democracy. And keep in mind, when this happened in 1789, Louis XVI was in charge. So you can look back in history and see how astrology has impacted things. He was in charge, and he had quite a monopoly style monarchy going. Henry VIII came in, and he saw the corruption and the greed and the things that weren't working, and he brought the tower. And he decided to destabilize the power structures that were no longer serving his country well, so that a republic could be born. That was Pluto in Aquarius back then. So again, power to the people. And Pluto does very much equal power, and also transformation if you harness the energy wisely. And if we do that, again, we can start to get more power into the hands of the people and out of corrupt officials. And I think right now that's an essential move that we need to make if we want to set good seeds for the future. Now, in 1543, the same configuration was also in place. Then, when Pluto was in Aquarius, it assisted our scientific thinking, as Copernicus realized that we actually had a heliocentric solar system, not an Earth-centered one. Now, this was not an easy pill for many people to swallow. He actually got jailed for printing his findings, but as it turns out, he was spot on with the science, right? He revolutionized the way of thinking. And with Pluto in Aquarius, we have that opportunity to do that again. Aquarius is representative of many things. It represents the brotherhood of man. It does represent science, engineering, astrology, and also knowledge. And I am actually an Aquarius, but I still like my readings in Sagittarius because I'm Sag rising, and it's kind of a complicated astrology thing. But the reports come out more accurate if you go by your rising sign, I find. But anyhow, my sun sign, I'm an Aquarius. And this is about bringing knowledge down to earth and sharing it. It also has a very strong humanitarian bent and the ability to dip behind the veil to gather information that can help to raise consciousness. Think more humanitarianism, more humanity, less war, more cooperation, building bridges of understanding. We should also try to harness science and technology for the good of people. Example, reworking technology so it does not favor hacking by criminals. Reworking consciousness, raising consciousness, and expanding our humanitarian efforts. And again, it also means power to the people. And I think it's very important because another symbology for Aquarius is revolution. And that is another potential meaning of this particular configuration. And we're still in the Pluto return cycle, which lasts 248 years. So whether we realize it or not, and I think by now most of us do realize it, that we are actually trying to birth a new America right now. And because of that, and the fact that revolution is in the air, we've already seen that, we need to choose our steps very wisely and very consciously as we move forward. Now, I have hundreds of these kinds of books, right? Because I'm a new age gal. But this one's a great book, The Rulership book by Rex Bills. And he details what each sign governs and what each planet governs. So here's a small smattering of the things that fall under the sway of the sign of Aquarius. Aeronautics. Okay, you can see the airwaves here. Airmen, broadcasting again. See the energy patterns there. Also Congress. But in this case, I hope it means reform of Congress so we can get the power back into the hands of the people. Cooperation, counselors, electricity. See the vibe here? Faith healing, science, hope for humanity. Okay, now you understand why I have the humanitarian bent. Lectures, idealists, organizations, and secret societies, psychology. Whoops. I'm going to go right back here. Telecommunications. Again, you see all the electrical airwaves here. The country of Turkey. So watch Turkey and see if anything very dramatic and powerfully transformative, good or bad, happens in Turkey over the next 21 years. All forms of technology and knowledge. So it's like we're seeking our internal fire to make changes in science and technology and medicine. Now, just as Pluto changes signs, so does the planet Mars on March 26th of 2023. It's going to progress into the sign of Cancer. Cancer has everything to do with homes, with families, with the homeland, female figures, nostalgia, and history. And also it has a lot to do with emotions. And with Mars in the emotion sector, the emotions, water, can be quite turbulent. It can bring out fire, passion, warlike energy. You can see definite warlike energy, violence, cruelty, even, which we have right here, is possible. So Mars is very warlike energy. Assassinations, generals, forgeries, eruptions, like think about volcanic eruptions, blisters, things that are hot and fiery, armed forces, action, boldness, drive, bravery, and even murder. Difficulties with China could emerge at this time because of configurations in both of our charts. The fiery planet will be moving retrograde until January 12th, and at that point it's going to start moving forward. Now, when it's in the retrograde period, this always gives us an opportunity to rethink our actions, to rethink any warlike energies we might be feeling. Once it falls into Cancer, disruptions to homes and families are possible, maybe due to just infighting or earthquakes or sudden storms brought on by climate change. I also, from previous readings with what we saw a month ago, earthquakes could also be indicated over the next 6 months. It could, now it doesn't mean it's going to, also indicate a potential attack on our homeland, something we need to be concerned about. But of course, so much of it comes down to free will, right? Now, the reason this is so important is because this fiery, warlike planet is going to cross over 4 planets in the United States natal chart. So just like people, countries have charts. And it's going to trigger 4 different planets in close conjunction with each other at 14 degrees of Gemini. That means that the god of war is going to cross over Venus. Okay, now that could bring very passionate, lust-filled romances, right? As you can see here. It could also bring an absolute lust for money, which we already seem to have a problem with. And it also could bring disruptions to financial sectors. And this also was indicated by stuff that we saw a month ago with the square between Capricorn and Taurus, or Saturn and Mars, rather, I should say, Saturn and Uranus. And so, problems with cryptocurrency, banking rules and regulations, things of that nature. So we need to be wary of trouble in the financial sector. Mars is also going to cross over Jupiter in Gemini. Now, Gemini is all about communications, all forms of communications, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, talking in front of the public, TV announcers, writing, all of that sort of stuff. And here you can see there's interference, right? So we could have attacks on telecommunications systems, which we know the Russians were busy digging into that when they attacked our country, or other warlike energy on things like our medical industry or even military bases. Now, the sun is also going to be crossed, and this could equate to attacks on our country's leadership. It's possible. Again, this is all just potential energy. Everything is mutable, and it all depends on the decisions that we make. But at the same time that it's crossing over our natal sun in our nation's chart, Mars will also be crossing over Mars. So the transiting Mars will be crossing over the natal Mars. So certainly we can expect tempers to rise, to flare, for all potential types of mayhem to happen. So this is like a chaotic month that's coming in March, March to April. There could be forgeries, murder, assassinations, cruelty, bravery, or actions taken by generals and the armed forces. These are just a few of the potential interpretations. And a lot, again, is going to depend on our free will and how we choose to interact both with our other countries that we play with or are, working with, as well as our own political scene, which we all know needs a major overhaul. But we can do that overhaul peacefully, especially if we realize that chaotic energy is in the air. We can choose wisely to come to the table and talk over what needs to happen. Now, I like the website Mindfire for Sapient Symbols. And at 14 degrees of Gemini, I love the symbology of this. It equates to bridging physical space and social distances, or literally the ability to communicate telepathically. And no, I've only done that once, and it was with a very good friend, female friend. And the whole idea of communicating that way and raising the consciousness is so that we can birth a new world order peacefully into existence, where we have the light of God shining down upon us. The snake represents transformation, and here's the new world, right? But we have to use our minds, our hearts, and our spirits and harness the energy wisely to bring this in peacefully. This could actually equate to a major shift in consciousness, but it could also indicate, because there's always, it just depends on how you use it, stealthy stuff happening in the communications sector. So here we have the Magus, which represents Gemini or Mercury, the messenger, and here he's upside down. And so, messages could go flying sideways. We've got the winged messenger, but this could be things like using stealthy equipment like satellites to spy and, other kind of stealthy equipment. And once again, the Russians were mapping out our telecommunication system during the last attack. So I feel that there could be implications in this arena. It could also have to do with China and all the spyware that they put in telephones and things like that. Okay, another large shift that is going to be happening right at the same time in March is that Saturn is going to also be shifting signs, moving out of Capricorn, which has been teaching us very hard lessons about the abuse of power in our government, corporations, and large organizations. And it's going to move into the sign of Pisces. Now, Saturn has everything to do with laws, structures, time, the father figure, big government, big business, hard work and effort, lessons that must be learned the hard way. The shift is going to occur on March 8th of 2023. I guarantee you will start to feel these energetic changes because instead of that harsh, overbearing feeling of Saturn in Capricorn, which is what we've been having lately, we're going to have it in Pisces. And that's going to really change things a lot. Pisces has a lot to do with daydreaming. Here you can see this person is daydreaming. They're trying to connect behind the veil. Now, sometimes people do that with prayer or meditation or yoga, and sometimes they do it with drug and alcohol addictions. Pisces also represents our path to God, and also cheaters and dancing and various creative endeavors like filmmaking. It can also equate to diseases that are hard to pinpoint. Persecution by enemies. Europe in general is ruled by Pisces, so we should be watching what Putin is doing in Europe. It also has to do with holy water, fictitious names, imprisonment. It's like being trapped in your own head. Institutions of confinement, like jails, hospitals, asylums, and yoga retreats. It also represents Judas Iscariot. So think betrayals, right? Some betrayals could be coming. It rules the lymph system, occult groups, private investigators. You get, again, people operating behind the veil, prostitution, relief organizations, secret societies, sorrow, suffering, treachery, and writing. Now, there's a lot of possibilities there, right? But again, it comes down to how do we use our free will. Now, to make meaning out of these shifts, you have to put the energies together. So, Saturn is going to help us review how we are bringing God down to earth. Here you can see the seeing eye of God, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And there's a birthing of a new world here. There's also crying, because as we leave the heavens, we have somewhat of a separation from our Maker. But we're going to be reviewing these kinds of things in the next 21-year period. So what structures, knowledge, and teachings are serving us well, and which are not? And New Age believers like myself will be working hard, that's Saturn, to establish businesses like yoga retreat centers, places of natural healing, hypnotherapy businesses aimed at soul retrieval and healing, and just in general, trying to bring more consciousness and humanitarianism into the planet. And honestly, this is one of the greatest gifts of astrology, is this shift in consciousness. If we could only open our mind and heart and eyes to see what's in the stars and to harness that energy very well. All right, there will also be some lessons. Saturn is all about lessons, and they're going to be learned by secret societies, occults, and prostitution rings. And I'm not making this up. This is actually the symbology of what is happening, and it just happens to fit with what's going on. But the more you pay attention to astrology, the more you realize that there is definitely something going on behind the veil, if only we could read the map, right? And use the map, not to cause harm, because it was never meant to do that, but to try to guide the world in a good direction. That's what it was used for, not to undermine people's homes, to stop their income, all of that. It was meant to help humanity. Okay, so there are going to be some lessons that are coming up, and we're going to be faced with some harsh truths of fighting various drug, sex, alcohol, and prostitution and pornography addictions, the kinds of things that possess people's souls and turn them into something that we no longer recognize. And I do believe that this is going to happen, and this is going to be part of the Pluto in Capricorn that's going to reveal things that are breaking down in our government, that have to be fixed in order for us to have a decent society and less possession of human souls going forward. Now, coming up, I am going to do more of a breakdown of individual planets as they move through the sky in March, but I think we've had enough, at least for right now. But I'm going to start to try to teach people how to watch the energy for themselves. Why? Because once you learn the energy, you can begin to see things. I started astrology as a lark. I didn't think there was anything to it. I kind of muddled along for a couple of years just because it was novel. But then I began to see things. And then I started to really see things. And that's when the proof was in the pudding and I got hooked. And that's when I started really studying, because I realized there was proof to it. So I like things where there's logical, rational proof. Like I can see, okay, I can make a prediction and there's something to it, right? I may not be spot on all the time because there's often several interpretations, but I can hit the broad marks, right? So if you can read the map, then you can see the potentialities are there and try to harness the energy wisely to help push the world in a good direction, or people in good directions. This is the gift of astrology. And if you use it with God consciousness, you would always harness that energy to bring good things into the world. You would never use it to harm other people. Okay, so I have some other cards that I want to just bring up. These are handmade ones. So, investigation. I know there's many of these going on right now, and I get the sense there is an Aquarius lawyer that wants to reach out to me. I have not monetized my channel, but if you want to support my channel, you can reach me at the library, and a certified check would be great. My family could use it for healing, and more things are going to come to light. So I appreciate your honesty and help in moving the country and women in a better direction. We have a serious problem with trafficking right now, and this has to stop. I want you to find the people in the black book. This shouldn't be going on. So we do have some issues with witches. And again, people that are doing good in the world, if you are casting good spells and trying to bring good things down to earth and are connected to the right deities, I have no problem with that. But right now we seem to have a lot of witches who are practicing, and it's everything that is coming out right now is harmful. How do we hurt people? How do we destabilize people? How do we keep them from working? How do we block them? How do we this or that? We need to take a look at what we're growing in our country and why we have come to this point, right? So how did we get where we are with the hordes of witches? So yes, these are parts of my own story. A fortune was stolen. Fortunately, I get my worth from within. It's been more the plots on my life that have been more traumatic and some of the other things. But yes, a huge fortune was stolen. Women, I think we really need to start asking ourselves, who do we want representing us? Our rights are severely under attack right now. And if we do not stand up for things, we're going to lose it all. Do we want decent people in office? Or do we want shifty, lying people? We need to make a conscious decision. Here's just a few of the weird things I've been up against. Organ trafficking. They were going to part me out in a bathtub and sell off my organs. See, I can laugh. I still got a lot of healing to do, but I can laugh. I had fake power of attorney written over me as if I were crazy, when in reality, I was going through the worst betrayal a human being could ever go through, right? I was upset, but I was always in charge of my own faculties. But somebody took power of attorney over my life as if I were a relative, and this happened by a total stranger. Why is this even legal in our country? More than one hitman was hired. One of them, I guess, turned out to like me and he couldn't do the job. God bless. But there was more than one, and there's still plots afoot right now. Yes, I was fake married. Not my consent. Nothing, right? I had no idea until it all came out. And why? So that they could kill me, right? Murder plots for life insurance policies. There's been so much slander, I'm shocked, and none of it was true. Not a single thing from what I've heard. Yes, they have cost me job loss, and they have blocked me from jobs that they felt were too high paying, right? Just block, block, block. Trying to snuff my light out. There have been kidnap plots. Yes, dirty judges. Some of whom, I guess, are running a prostitution ring. Also dirty lawyers and dirty cops. Thank God for the good ones. My husband got poisoned 3 times. That's the truth. Dirty pictures of me were sent to inmates in prison. Fake prostitution charges were filed. I've been in a monogamous marriage for 35 years. Fake drug charges. I'm more than happy to take the drug test. You need a court order. I've already tried to volunteer and they need a court order. So when you want it, let me know. And do it before they slip something in my food. Yes, there was a fake Tindler account. And nasty, over-sexualized, divine feminine videos that went out. I hope you never run across this. Vampire witches that try to suck the living life right out of you. It's scary beyond scary. I hear there's money in 6 states in my name. Where did it go? I'm curious. An old credit union of mine was involved. That's pretty heartbreaking. People profited off of the fake reality TV show that was run in my house. That's one of the filthiest things I've ever heard or seen or had done. I want the money back. Hate crimes went all over the internet, and somebody paid for that. They actually sent someone to one of my places of work, I believe, to try to kidnap me. Calls were made ahead to a new job to try to destroy me before I even arrived. A stranger copyrighted my book called Betrayed. I want it back. Nasty pictures were sent in order for somebody to try to steal my home. Can you imagine? Rico mob case, baby. Oh, yeah. The filth is going to get exposed. That's Pluto and Capricorn. And if we use it wisely, we're going to let it happen so that we can change the consciousness and values of our system and put our country on a better track. If not, we will get more of the same in the next 248 years. It's critical that we fix this because we are laying the ground for the next 248-year cycle. So this all happened to me, and I was innocent. They also MK Ultra'd my brains. I was innocent. I bought software off the internet. That was my crime. That could happen to anybody. I love the FBI. Angels are real. Some of them were tarot card readers. One was the guy who held up the card that said, "Still need help," when I was trying to get up off the floor. I do have an attitude of gratitude, and yes, sometimes I still get ornery, but I'm still working on it. We need territories in the United States so we can have a win-win situation and get off of this two-party system, which is destroying us. Would a loving God tolerate this kind of behavior? I'm an astrologer and a tarot card reader, and I believe in the same God you do. Okay, you said put my wishes out into the universe. Tell Tony Stark we need a divine feminine movie. What I've been through is stranger than F, and I'm willing to share my story. And I think it needs to be shared because this is where we are as a country. And we somehow need to find a way to honor women in the United States. All right. Thank you to everybody who's helped me. My gratitude is enormous. My love and heart chakra are expanding, even for my enemies who I sometimes call mean things. I'm so sorry for the suffering that they're going through. And yet I'm also grateful for people helping to lift me up from this disaster. I hope I get to meet you all in December. I really would love that. My soul tribe, people who have been warriors helping me to get out from the filth that I was steeped in. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you ever so much.